Welcome back to Listen Up, and oh boy, was it a big win
Welcome
today.
back, who?
Welcome back. Return of Azzi Fudd today. It was a surprise to me.
Missed it.
I'm sure it was probably a surprise to a lot of you out there as well. I was kind of expecting Azzi to return, but I didn't think she would return this quick. UConn took on Georgetown for the second straight year in the quarterfinals. Of course, Azzi Fudd returning in a huge way today for UConn. Today, actually, only the second game in the entire season that UConn has had all 10 available players. Phil, I'll go ahead and send it off to you. I know you have a lot to say about this game recap versus Georgetown.
We'll go back and look at last night's video, yesterday's video, and I told you the X factor for not only the Big East tournament, but March Madness would be Azzi Fudd. And thank goodness I was right, not taking anything away from Aaliyah Edwards, Lou Lopez-Sénéchal, Nika Mule, Caroline Ducharme, the list goes on and on, right? Dorka Juhas. Man, look. But first of all, yes, welcome back, Azzi Fudd. It was about, Ryan, 11:50 in the morning, and I was sitting there on the couch, and I got a page, and I looked at it. It says Azzi Fudd is back in the lineup after, well, not in the starting lineup, excuse me. She was back. She was actually back as active after missing the previous 14 games. I just want to shout out, there were a lot of UConn Huskies fans there today. It was a packed house, Ryan. And this was Azzi's only 10th game of the season. So just 10 games. Getting down to the first quarter, UConn was favored by 25.5. The line, I had to laugh at myself. The line actually went up by 3. It went up by 3 when we found out Azzi Fudd was returning in this ball game. Start off in the shout out to John Fanta, Kim Adams, and Megan Caffrey on the call on Fox Sports 1. It was a 12 o'clock matchup, Ryan. First quarter, Fauntleroy made it 2-0 Georgetown. Dorka tied it up at 2-2. I want to put a big emphasis on how important it was with Azzi Fudd in this game. I cannot believe the amount of electricity and the amount of calmness that she provided when she came back onto the floor, because you could tell UConn was still off of their game. As soon as she entered the game with 4:15 left in the first quarter, Ryan, Azzi was in with 4 minutes, and everything seemed calm like it was when the season first started. At the end of one, it was 17-8 UConn, Ryan. In the second quarter, with about 3 minutes, Caroline Ducharme went down with a head injury. They took her back into the locker room. It took her a while to get up. So keep an eye on that as we head into tomorrow, the next 2 games, or if they make it to Monday, and then March Madness. But Caroline Ducharme, Ryan, and she never came back in the game. So you want to keep an eye on that for me. And then with about 1 minute left, Azzi Fudd scored her first points of the game. And then she had a big assist to Lou Lopez-Sénéchal in the corner for 3. And that made it 35-12 at halftime. Then you skip over to the third quarter. Georgetown was actually more aggressive coming out in the third quarter. They had their first 3. Georgetown made their first 3, and I believe it was the first 3 for either team all game. Both teams had a very difficult time shooting behind the 3-point mark. But again, Georgetown broke that. Ransom had picked up her 4th foul early in the third quarter, so that forced the head coach for Georgetown to pull her out of the game. And then Fudd, she had her first 3-pointer with 4 minutes in the third. I just want to, man, it was so emotional to see her return into the game in the first. But then when she shot that ball for the 3-pointer, her parents stand up. Everybody stands up. I mean, people had their mustaches, right? Their mustaches dyed in UConn colors, right? They had their shirts on or hats. So it was amazing to see. And again, what this does, this was actually a statement. I will get to that in a second before you go. And then Fudd, she made another back-to-back 3-pointers. And then Fudd had a steal with 2:55 left. And that made it. So again, you could see her heating up, especially after halftime. 56-23 UConn midway through the third quarter, and then skipping over at the end of the third, 61-31. And then in the fourth quarter, what had me just a little bit concerned, Ryan, UConn in a total had 13 turnovers, kind of limited the turnovers a little bit. UConn, and that was for the whole game. But what had me concerned, UConn, they did not score, Ryan, until Edwards had 2 points with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And I knew I had to write that down because you may have gotten a little bit concerned by that stat. But final score 69-39 UConn. UConn out rebounded Georgetown by 55-35. So with that said, we're getting back into this is the typical UConn women's basketball that we are accustomed to seeing.
Right.
And so with that said, before you go, I wanted to make a statement to you. I think that this putting it back, with the return of Azzi Fudd with that decision and not holding her out until the tournament, March Madness comes, I think that's a big wake-up call, number one. And two, that's a statement. Wake up, America. Because even if Ryan sitting here right now with me, even if you don't want to admit it, I know what people are thinking that quick. It's like day and night, right? That quick. You know what? Potentially. Because imagine what were we just sitting here talking about yesterday? Gino's comments. Oh, it felt like the world is crashing down. All of a sudden, and again, I'm not taking anything away from these other UConn Huskies, but all of a sudden, Ryan, I don't know about you. I think that you are, but you probably won't admit it to me right now. Final Four, potentially Final Four, just like that in a matter of 24 hours.
Well, it certainly is amazing that just with the return of one player, all of a sudden we're thinking that UConn is kind of doomed when it comes to March Madness. And then within the span of 24 hours, we're talking about a Final Four already. And
unbelievable.
That's it's kind of honestly been the story of the season. And we've kind of talked about it a little before in some of the last check-ins about how game to game, we don't really know what to expect. And kind of every single game is different. Every single time something happens that switches our mindset from game to game, week by week. But specifically for the game today, I think UConn did a great job defensively, set the tone right away to begin the first quarter, and continued that throughout the whole entire game. They held Georgetown just a 17% shooting in the first quarter, and Georgetown from the first and a little bit into the second quarter, I believe, went about 10 minutes without scoring a basket. So it was rough for Georgetown the whole game just to put the ball in the basket. And like you mentioned about Azzi Fudd, 16 minutes off the bench, shot 3 and 9, including 2 big 3-pointers. And like Gino said in the post-game interview, you can't calculate Azzi Fudd's impact on this team and how much her return to the court really means for this team moving forward. Aaliyah and Dorka each had a double-double today. Aaliyah was really dominant. She looked like the Aaliyah we saw a little bit earlier in the season. So that's good to see out of Aaliyah Edwards. Also liked Aubrey's efforts on the glass as well. I think Lou had another solid shooting performance today. Nika with 7 assists, 7 points. And not only Nika Mule, but the whole team today, like I mentioned, played shutdown defense. Georgetown, they just couldn't get anything to drop. They couldn't really get any sort of rhythm going offensively. UConn, to me, it just seems like they always turn it up when the postseason comes around. Azzi returning means so much to this team. And like you said, with the Caroline injury, I saw where she did take that elbow to the back of the head when her and Aaliyah were, I think, both going up for a rebound. So hopefully Caroline is okay. But this is a huge step in the right direction for UConn. And we turn right back around for tomorrow's matchup at 3:00. So it's a quick turnaround for this team. So hopefully they get a good night's rest and are prepared for tomorrow's game. I'm sure they will be, but this is a huge win today for UConn, and I think it should serve as a huge momentum boost as well moving forward.
Yeah, and this is not Gino. We have to remember, yeah, he's a mastermind, but this is not Gino playing on the court, y'all. All right, so just remember that. I can't wait to get down in the comments because some people seem very foolish. They really do. I'm not even going to lie to you, Ryan. And I won't even mention names just for the respect out of them. If they want me to in the next episode, I will. But just out of respect, I'm not even mentioning names because some people look really, really foolish, to say the least. Because again, I nailed it on the spot. Speaking about Azzi, the X factor for this tournament coming up in the March Madness. But again, people will not admit it. Hey. You know what's crazy? The winner of the Marquette and St. John's game, Ryan, right now it's 44-43, quarter 4, 5 minutes left. They take on the UConn Huskies tomorrow in the semifinal game. both of these teams have found a way to beat the Huskies this season.
They have, yeah. Yeah, it should, like I said, it should be a fun matchup tomorrow. Obviously, we won't have time for a last check-in to kind of, break down the game. But I think, whoever wins the game very shortly against St. John's or Marquette, I think it should be a good matchup. But Azzi Fudd returning, it just brings so much to the UConn team. But I think UConn, I think they should be able to handle either of these teams, but I don't think it'll be quite as easy today, winning by 30 points against Georgetown. Marquette, St. John's, like you mentioned, obviously found a way to beat UConn already, but I think UConn should be pretty prepared for both of these teams, whoever wins.
Let's just set the point straight. I do have the Huskies winning the Big East. Okay, let's just set that out there now. I do have them winning the Big East. No matter who they had to play Sunday and Monday, I do have them winning the Big East. It's up to you. You can tell me now, or you can wait.
Well, honestly, I don't think I had them winning the Big East before I saw that Azzi Fudd is returning. But now with Azzi Fudd back in the lineup, I think I am going to take UConn to win the Big East tournament. Huge win today. So yeah, I mean, I'm back on the confidence train. Put me back in the confidence column for UConn. Like I said, it changes day to day, but my confidence is back in the team again, and I think they should play well moving forward.
Yeah, and hopefully that will satisfy a lot of people with our predictions, because I tell you, it's some people on this podcast, they have trouble finding happiness, no matter if it's a win or a loss. So we want to pray for you all and hope that you can find happiness somewhere else if you can't find it in sports. Ryan, let's go ahead and get down into comments. I will start off with Marcia Clark. And no, she is not foolish. I'm not saying she is. I want to get down into this one. Not making any excuses for Gino. And again, before Dorka Juhas, oh my God, and Aaliyah Edwards. Those are two players, Gino said, they will have a huge impact on how far they make it down the stretch in March, because you should have seen them dominate today, Ryan, inside the paint. It was unbelievable, especially Aaliyah Edwards. Marcia Clark goes, not making any excuses for Gino or the players, but frustration often leads to anger. I think there's a lot of fear that comes with everything going on this season. It takes a great leader to boost morale. I think the women need Gino to build them up and fight through the frustration together. I have faith. Let's go Huskies. And again, Ryan, just make sure you remember, yes, Gino was probably right speaking about, or, striking up the comments that he did, but let's just not forget. Can you listen to me for a second? My point, the team, as soon as Azzi Fudd made her entrance into the game, it was a light switch off and it came on. Let's just not forget that. Can you remember that?
Yeah, and I really do like Marcia's comment, because it seems like a lot of frustration and anger did lead to probably a lot of those comments. But like we said, I mean, Gino is going to set it straight no matter what, and he's going to tell it how it is. But I think, no matter what Gino said or what he didn't say, I think UConn and this women's team should use much of that to their advantage and take it under their belt. And just kind of use it as motivation going forward. I know, obviously, everybody on this coaching staff, including Gino, wants these women to do well and play well. I know they wish all the best for them. And they played great today. And like you said, it kind of just turned the light switch back on when Azzi Fudd hit the court. So hopefully Azzi returning just provides a huge energy and momentum boost. And hopefully we won't get a case of the tiredness anytime soon, or a fatigue factor set it in. Like I said, I think when March rolls around, the postseason, I think the whole team just turns the light switch on. So hopefully fatigue won't be a factor moving forward. And it's definitely, like I said, a big step in the right direction.
And, we talk about it. There's only room for one. So again, if this team this year does not win at all, big deal. Go grab your cold one and some chips and cheese and enjoy. Right. Let's one more comment, because this is absolutely amazing how stuff changes within 24 hours, maybe even less. Listen to this, Ryan, and you will wear a big old smile on your face after this. If you think having Azzi back will save this team, then you're missing Gino's point. This team, as it is personnel-wise, is capable of winning everything. That said, for some crazy reason, they are not playing UConn basketball. I can only speculate about who Gino is talking about, but I have a feeling, compare this team to the team that played game one and they're completely different. Compare it to the team that played South Carolina, and they are completely different. Something shifted after the South Carolina game, and this team hasn't been the same since. I love her to death, but I think there may be some kind of disconnect between the coach and Nika. It starts there. Everyone always has room for improvement, but they have to be able to do the basic stuff that separates them from everyone else in order to be successful. Right now, they're just playing as a reaction to other teams, not by what they want to accomplish. It's almost like they've forgotten how to play Husky basketball. No, I can tell you, Ryan, that opened the passing lanes. Again, Azzi Fudd back in. It opened the door for 3-point shots. It seemed like Lou Lopez Senechal was even more calm behind the 3-point arc. Again, the passing lanes, I can't emphasize that enough. So I'm not too sure this person, obviously we a lot of people are not going to tell you, Ryan, we did not expect Azzi Fudd back in today. Let's just point that out there right now.
No, I know I didn't. Like I said in yesterday's video, I didn't really hear anything leading up to that. But I mean, I agree with some of that and I disagree. You know, they really didn't play UConn Husky basketball for a little bit. You know, I don't know what it was, but you know, it was just it was a rough patch there for a little while. But obviously the return of Azzi today did a lot of things for the team. But I disagree with that. I mean, I think, you know, with Azzi returning, it seemed like it worked pretty well today. So I think it changes everything for the team. And I think all of a sudden we go from UConn not being able to return to the national championship to all of a sudden now they can do it. And now they are back to playing UConn Husky basketball, but I think they were kind of focusing on what other teams were doing instead of playing their game. But I think they did get back to that today, and it's a great sight to see. It really is.
Oh, it is, and it's going to be a great sight on Monday. Let me tell you, because I have full confidence now. Let's go, huh? Phil and Rye on Listen Up.